start off with the land acknowledgement that we are on the homeland of the many diverse First Nations and Métis people whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to work, live, and learn on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. Go to our agenda. Any additions, changes?
I'll move that we accept as presented.
Okay. And no other changes? Okay, all in favor? It's carried. And we'll move on. No scheduled delegations, no public delegations, so we'll move right on to our fire chief's report. And can I get a motion to start this off? Councilor Yanack.
I make a motion that council receive the fire chief's October 2022 report for information.
All right, thank you. And I'm turning over to the chief to highlight anything you'd like to highlight or anything additional you'd like to add.
So just a couple of things I'd like to add to this. November 16th, actually I put a little note on there, the activity that we do have the county tender arriving mid-November. Date has been determined as November 16th. And basically we've been instructed to invite all of our members, family, county representatives, and I'm throwing the invite out to some councillors if you're interested in joining. We're having supper at 6 o'clock, and then we'll be kind of having a look at the truck from them, and then we've got some training opportunity after that, probably starting about 7 o'clock. So if you are interested, let me know, and I will add you to the list. Yes? Okay.
At 7 o'clock?
6 o'clock for supper.
6, okay.
Yeah.
At the fire hall?
Yes.
Thank you.
We are participating in the Christmas light up, and I think everybody's kind of looking forward to that. So that will be happening on the end of November here. Chris is and the Beautification Society been organizing that, and we'll have our usual Santa and stuff that's going to be there. December 3rd, our membership has put forth a community Christmas party that we are putting on. Glad to say that we are essentially sold out, and we have entertainment going, which is grilling pianos, and it's been well received by the corporate businesses in town here, and that's kind of what we're going it for. And we are using it as a fundraising effort, and fundraising efforts are basically going to equip our side-by-side with additional rescue stuff that will allow us to, like, we have to go in cold weather, tents, heaters, all kinds of stuff. We made kind of a list. Also made a little unit that goes in the back of the side-by-side that has drawers and can house all of this stuff. And also we are using it to augment the rope gear that we have purchased as well. So that's basically where the money is going for this fundraising event. And I submit my report to council. If you have any questions, free to ask.
Okay, thank you. Questions? I'm just curious about the Christmas party. I hadn't even heard of it. You're sold out already, which is great. But and how did you market it, and where are you doing it? What's just more on that?
Basically, what we did is we sat down as an organization and canvassed a bunch of the businesses in the community. The idea was that, you know, you have a business that's 4, 5, 6, 10 people. You don't really have a big, huge Christmas party, so we figured we would create an opportunity for these smaller businesses to get on board and join a bigger place, bigger event. What we did is we essentially wrote up a letter outlining all the information, and it was handed out to a lot of the businesses in town here. We tried to hit as many as we could, and positive response. So.
Oh, excellent. And where are you doing it?
Out the Elks Hall.
At the Elks?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be a fairly big event. Huh?
Yeah, we have 284 people,
Right on.
so
Excellent. Good.
kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
Okay, anything else? No? Nothing else? It's
Easy night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks very much for coming in. Move on then to,
Did we vote on that?
oh, sorry, yeah, thank you for that. Moving us along too quick. We have the motion to receive for information. All in favor? All right, so moving on then to our organizational minutes. Can I get a motion on that? Okay, that's it.
Make a motion that council approves the minutes from the October 25th, 2022 organizational meeting as presented.
All right. Any changes needed to these minutes? Any errors or omissions? Seeing none. All in favor? Carried. And our regular minutes of council.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the October 25th, 2022 regular meeting of council as presented.
Thank you. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. And the ACP intermunicipal collaboration. Can I get a motion on this one?
Should have John make a motion.
What's that?
We should have John make a motion.
Do you want to make this motion, John?
He's muted.
Yeah, you're muted right now.
Sorry. I don't have the agenda and stuff in front of me. So
Oh, okay.
Okay.
add to discussion.
All right. Okay, I'm going to make this one. I'll make the motion that council approves the partnership support of Big Lakes County's application towards the Alberta Community Partnership intermunicipal collaboration for the Regional Transportation Network Plan as the managing partner. Okay, we have the letter where they made the request, so any questions on this one? Councillor Yashishin?
So it says there is a plan already, or that's what their need grant is to make the plan. I'm thinking that it's saying the plan would retrieve data related to the condition of road networks in the area of focus. But is there more, something more that's being done?
Go ahead,
Your
I
Worship and Council. So yes, the consultant or engineer would be hired to do the analysis of what the best feasible, the most feasible method to enhance those roads.
The existing roads?
Yes.
Okay, so not as in new roads, as in the existing corridors.
Okay, that's my understanding of it, yes.
Okay, yeah, it just doesn't say that, so I'm thinking we could be talking about something much more than what it's, than the information we have.
My understanding is that they need a partner when they go on this kind of grant and they're asking us to partner. And, I mean, it's not within our defined boundaries, but anything that would be good for them is, you know, there's gonna be some spin-off benefits for the town, so I would be in support of this too. Councillor Danaka?
My only concern with this, I mean, I understand that it's not in our jurisdiction per se. Personally, I think the spin-offs would be very minor to the town. And, I mean, basically, they can't go forward without us on this, is my understanding. Regional approach, I don't necessarily see a regional approach to this. It benefits them more than it benefits us. And I have I know where the road goes. Hilliard's Bay, Shaw's Point's private, so why would they want to enhance that road past Hilliard's Bay is sort of my concern, because that's a private recreational facility, if you wish, and stuff. So I just have some concerns about about the definition of what they're focusing on.
And again, I don't know all of the details, but if it's good for, getting people to, if they can improve the road network so that more people come out to Hilliard's Bay Estates, and Shaw's Point, all of those people are using, High Prairie as, if they need supplies, or if they want to come in and use the pool, or go here golfing, or any of those kinds of things. So that's that kind of spin-off benefit that would help us as a town. You're definitely right that, there's benefits to some of the private owners and to the county, but there would be spin-off benefits for the businesses in our community too.
I would like to also remind council that there have been 2 previous ACP grants, both of which were within the town limits, that they partnered with us to access this grant. The one was on the regional water, that's the most recent one. Prior to that was the traffic study at the intersection over by Tim Hortons right now. So
Yeah.
just thought that might be of benefit.
Thank you for that.
Councillor Shishin?
I guess the question of the problem I have is when it's saying regional transportation network plan. To me, regional aside from is a lot broader than just those 2 roads, and maybe it's just the wording or the way it's written.
Well, it might be the wording, because they're focusing on that particular corridor as opposed to the bigger picture sort of thing.
So if it's just for those 2, it would be nice if those 2 access roads, it'd just be nice if it said that. Because this implies a lot, much bigger plan.
And it's again to get some money, to get a grant, to do a study on it, right? So there's nothing, to me, if we can improve the access in our region, that's a good thing. All right, anything else on this one? We have a motion to give them a letter of support. All in favor? Okay, and it's carried. We'll move on to the High Prairie Library appointment. Motion on this one.
I'll move the council approve the appointment of Big Lakes County Councillor Ann Stewart to the High Prairie Municipal Library until the next organizational meeting held in 2023.
All right, any questions on that? I mean, they appoint them or make the recommendations, we have to put them on to the library board, that's our responsibility.
Because it's our library board.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's just paper.
that's right. All right, no other questions on that? Let's see, Jean, okay, all in favor? Carried. Moving on then to our CAO's report and action list. And we know our bill is in Edmonton at RMA during this meeting, so thanks for coming out and taking a spot. So we'll try and be gentle on you, filling in, but get a motion to start this off. Councillor Shishin.
The council received CAO Bill McKinnon's report and action list for information.
All right. So I'll turn it over to you, Rita, if there's anything you want to highlight or add to this.
I don't have anything to highlight, but I do have something to add. An opportunity purchase has just been made available, and it is to purchase the hydrovac truck, the vacuum vac truck. And so it's in the amount of under 200,000, so just barely, but it is within that 250,000 that council had awarded. So we're happy to say that very shortly we should see a new vac truck in the community.
Oh, good.
It's appropriate to say that songs. It's a good thing.
That's a yeah one.
I know Vern was mentioning it last Friday that they were looking, is this the one in Ontario that's, okay, so they've got people looking it over and they're convinced, good. Well, that's good, okay. So with that, turn it over for any questions that you may have at this point. I got one, and you may know about, but when I was at the Northern Alberta Elected Leaders meeting, they talked a little bit about the Ukrainian worker program. And I know we've talked about the foreign worker program, but I hadn't heard about the Ukrainian worker program. And I was just wondering if anybody knows more about it, though.
You ever heard of it?
No.
I know that with my committee, the Rural Renewal Committee, their community one, it wasn't geared specifically towards Ukrainian refugees, but at this time, due to events, they were being given preferential treatment. But the plan is that it was to be an ongoing thing. As far as, but specifically Ukrainian, I'm wondering if they have just maybe misunderstood the purpose behind that, maybe.
Okay, it's possible. I was just wondering if there was any such specific program out there, because I hadn't heard of it. So,
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know anything more about it. Oh,
Not that I do, but I wonder if it's not something through the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress. It's quite possible that they're looking at it from that perspective, and that it could be coming from them, because I know they're a big player, but I don't know that for sure.
okay.
It's possible.
Well, I suppose if they're, it might be worth mentioning to that other committee that they know more about it. And
Yeah, I'll,
again, I don't know if it is worth looking into. All right.
Ukrainian worker program, you called it?
Well, that's what I'm calling it. I don't know what the official name for it is, but that was one of the reps at the meeting mentioned this program, and I hadn't heard of it, so, and I didn't get a chance to speak to him about it, so that's why I just thought I'd bring it up.
I'll touch base with Deanna Stark
Yeah.
and see if this is indeed the same thing and just somebody misunderstood the way it was worded.
Okay. The other question, do you know if you had heard anything back from ESSO regarding them coming out or anything like that? No? And has there been any update on the culvert at the hospital and what they were so I won't keep quizzing things. I just thought I'd ask some of those bigger ones that you probably would have heard of, if we had something like that. Okay, anything else? Seeing none, we have the motion to receive for information. All in favor? All right, that is carried. We'll move on then to our FCSS monthly report. Get a motion on this one. I'll make the motion that we receive the FCSS October report for information. Any questions or comments on the FCSS report? All right, seeing none, all in favor? Well, it's going to be a quick meeting, which is good. All right, moving on then to the High Prairie and Area Chamber of Commerce letter.
I'll move the council receive the High Prairie Area Chamber of Commerce letter for information.
All right. Any questions, comments on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, and moving on to the Minister of Municipal Affairs appointment. Get a motion on this one?
I'll move to receive the letter for information.
All right,
Do you want information?
but just asked, I mean, we can also, the other option
Oh.
would be to send a letter to the minister congratulating her.
Yeah, we'll send a letter as well.
Okay, so you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
an amendment to your motion, or
Yes,
changing your motion?
the council direct administration to send Minister of Municipal Affairs Rebecca Schultz a letter to congratulate her on her new appointment.
Okay. All right, any discussion on this item? All in favor? Carried. And we're moving right up. We have our upcoming meetings, and I know that Kelly's been sending out information on those coming up, so we've got all of those. Nothing else. We've got the budget meetings and open house meetings and stuff coming up, which is good. We'll start with our written and verbal reports, starting with Councillor Yashishin.
You did that. I'm either first or last.
Yeah.
I need to do that. Since the last meeting, I've had one meeting, and that was broadband committee meeting with Canadian Fiber. There was a lot. And Mayor will probably have a lot more to add than I will here, but so they have, they're planning the soft launch of their website, and I think we've all seen the information come out here now. It's kind of, maybe a lot of this is, maybe it's kind of after the fact, I guess, a little bit here, but it's under Northern Lights. Northern Lights, do I have that right? I believe. So it's quite exciting. I'm sure Councillor Wancon has already signed up. So things are up and running. The communication is getting out. That's the key. They're going to be communicating out a bit about the utility locates because there is flagging around town that's showing up in that. So just so people are aware of what's going on with that. We've got another meeting coming up in the next little bit here to keep in touch, and as the launch is ongoing, which will be good. There'll be some key messages, themes, education on it. I think it's on the website as well, but they'll be communicating why fiber, why is it different, and giving a little bit of information as far as that goes. Let's see, what else do I have there? And that they will be, I guess one of the main things is they're going to be at our open house on 24th. And that's all I have, and I move my report for information.
questions or comments for Councillor Yashishin? All right, all in favor? Councillor Wakel.
Thank you, Your Worship. So yes, I've had kind of library board meeting. Things are proceeding well at the library. They've had some staff turnover, just people had some other opportunities that they took advantage of and moved on. So that's been a challenge, but they're getting through it. I'm going to start attending the PLS meetings in Grand Prairie on a more regular basis. They specifically asked that we do that, so I'll be making that trip. I think it's later this month, or next month for that. Also, broadband, yes indeed, it is live. I'm happy to say I was the first person in High Prairie to sign up for it. I sat there that day hitting refresh on my browser until that website went live. Very excited, and my kids are learning how much I really detest our current internet provider because my language is quite salty. And I will be checking in with Deanna Bassart there to make sure that our grant our request there for the what the heck is the name of that?
The rural renewal?
Yeah, the rural renewal. I'll be checking that to make sure that goes in. I think it's this week that it goes in, but I'm just going to double check that, make sure that that's all taken care of, and I'll double check that as well that you've mentioned the Ukrainian worker program to see if that's indeed the same thing there, Mr. Mayor. That's basically it. The Red Wings are having their first responders and veterans game this Friday, and I invite everybody to come out. They're going to be wearing different camo jerseys and auctioning those off at the end. And it's going to be a good time. I move my report for information.
Okay, any questions or comments for Councillor Wakel? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, as for my report, did sit in on the Canadian Fiber meetings that we had, or part of the broadband committee. And yes, it is exciting to see the website going live, and I'm hoping that they get some really good coverage in town, which is good. We still have not received an agreement from them. They were working on finalizing that, and we're going to be sending it to us, I would hope shortly, because we get a chance to look it over and give some feedback on it. But they've been running, they got a new board, because they got new investors and new feedback, they had to sort of take back the old agreement and revise it a little bit, so it should be coming back to us shortly. Another meeting I attended was the Alberta North Central Alliance, or ANCA, and it was the strategic planning meeting. It was sort of an all-day affair in Slave Lake, but to break everything down for you, the group focused on sort of 3 key areas that they wanted to focus on, and all of the parties agreed that health would be an area that we could work on together, and specific things in health we had to figure out. We agreed on economic development. We could all support some areas of economic development and infrastructure for the region. So when it comes to infrastructure, it was things like, supporting that proposed highway 686 that would run from Fort McMurray through by Peace River and then right across to the coast, that kind of a corridor. They were hoping to get that going. So that was one thing. They're talking about resurfacing of the existing highways and roads that in our region, in the bigger region. There was some talk about the rail bridge, because rail is a big issue for some of our companies, like the forestry companies are having issues getting their product out of the mill. They can't ship it fast enough because of issues with rails, and this might help there. Economic development, they wanted to, one of the ideas was come up with a sort of a one document or one website or something that we could easily share with people coming in with all of the activities in the greater region with specific dates, so that if you're a tourist coming up to this region, you'd know when, for example, our rodeo was, so you might plan around that rodeo if that was important to you, or if you wanted to come up to this region to do a fishing tournament, when are those on? And so all of those key dates, when's the powwow in Driftmile, and those kinds of things, so that if you're a German tourist, you can come into this region and say, I'm going to go to the powwow, I'm going to do the fishing, and then I'm going to go and catch the rodeo. So that was the idea, to try and create multiple stops. And the only thing that we sort of agreed with, and I have to bring this to council, was in the health end of things, was the idea to send a letter to the Minister of Health requesting that Northern Lakes College be able to offer practical nurse or RN training. And the timing on that one was really tight because of RMA, and the groups were going to RMA, and they wanted to have a letter with everybody's logo. And so I did say that it would be okay, but I just wanted to see if there was any, issues from council on saying, we would love to see some RN training in our region. I didn't think that there would be. It would help our community immensely, I think. I don't see it yet. Okay, so they were hopefully going to put together a letter that they would give to the minister and see if they could get any support for that. So that, and then they're going to get together to do a little bit more flushing out of what would be the next sort of priority areas in health, who's going to do that particular task and when would it get done by, and all of those kind of details. The group still has the grant money for about $160,000 to do some stuff like that. So prioritizing what we'd use that money on is the next meeting, and it would be December 12th. So the consultants that came in to do that planning are going to be making another presentation, because they listened to all of us talk for a better part of a day, and then they're going to be coming back with those recommendations. And one other thing with that, Capoeino has dropped out of that organization. So they had to redo the terms of reference and what would make quorum. And so that will probably be coming back to our council once they revamp those terms of reference. All of the members have to reapprove them. So it'll be coming back to council in the future, I believe. And the other meeting I attended, again, another all-day meeting, and I'll try to squish it all down into 2 or 3 minutes here, but it was the Northern Alberta Elected Leaders meeting, and really quick, we had reports from Alberta municipalities and RMA all gave reports. We also had reports from the MLA Dan Williams. Really quickly, what he was mentioning is he was really wanting to see the Edmonton and Calgary pay more of the distribution costs that are being dumped on the rural parts of Alberta, because we're paying way higher distribution costs, and we have to cover so much more area than Edmonton or Calgary, so our distribution costs are significantly higher. I didn't realize how much higher, but he gave a few numbers out there, and we're like 5 times higher than some of those cities and what we're paying. You know, so it seemed to make a lot of sense. He was proposing that Highway 686 be a toll highway, which was an interesting thought and just for companies. Because if they saw it as being valuable to cut that trucking time down, maybe they would pay a little bit instead of having the trucks having to go all the way around. It would save them a ton of time, and time is money, so he thought maybe that it could help pay for it. And the other thing he had mentioned, he was against the concept of having municipal officials registered as lobbyists, is that new motion that the UCP came up with, and so all of the MLAs got asked that question, you know, how do you stand on that? The other MLA was Dave Hansen. His thinking was Highway 686, he was happy seeing it paid for by the province. His rationale was that 90% of the royalties that the province brings in are from the north, and therefore we are taking in tons of money from these companies. Therefore, we should be able to pay for that road because this is where the money's coming from. That was his rationale. He also was against the lobbyist proposal. And he mentioned one other thing that I'll mention, and it was about the federal government is looking at, now, and I'm just looking it up here. And they're doing a study to look at having the Métis General Council manage some areas in the north for caribou, areas around, huge areas around the Cold Lake area. And they're doing a study, and he says that there is an online survey that you can go in and give your opinions on that. And he would like to see that part of things stay with the province versus handing that over, and was suggesting that people go do the online survey. He talked about Tulva Consulting. Now, they did say he'd probably send out a website in the near future, and if I get that, I will send it out, but if you want to go looking for it, that's what he'd mentioned, or you might find it online. The other MLA was Minister Lowen for Forestry, Parks and Tourism. He talked a little bit about what he was hoping to do, and just, parks are for people, and wanted to see that getting more and more use. He wants to see Travel Alberta promote Northern Alberta even more than they do. And he also was against the lobbyist resolution. And what else can I tell you about that meeting? One of the mayors had mentioned the rail issue, and getting more rail cars is a big issue. It was the mayor of Whitecourt, and they had looked into it and said CN is 80% foreign owned. You hear Canadian National, you think it's Canadian owned, but it's not. And he was also saying that they are, resisting, trying to get more rail cars on, and they're even buying up rail cars so that others can't get rail cars, and creating a little bit of a shortage so that they can increase pricing, and that was his thoughts on it. And he's saying that it's something that needs to be on council's agenda. Now, again, I don't know that, but that's what he was saying, so I thought it was worth sharing. And Donnelly is getting the hemp plant being built. So that's a big plant in our region, so I thought that was kind of interesting, something new. And
When's
that's,
that gonna be built?
well, they're starting on it and should be open, I think, next summer.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, I'll move my report for information, but I'll take any questions if anybody has.
I have a question.
Sure,
I have a question.
go ahead.
What is the product? What is the product that hemp plant is gonna produce, you know?
Yeah, basically, they're taking the hemp fiber and they are breaking it down into just the fibers. And then those fibers, that's the product, and then they're gonna sell that fiber to the various companies that can use it, whether it be clothing, anything like that.
Rope? Okay.
Yeah.
Good, yeah, great.
Councillor Danaka?
Just a couple things regarding the health part of that. Was there any discussion of one, because I think we had discussed that at our council about this hospital being looked at as a training facility. And the other thing was, I think when you guys were at the AUMA and talking to the Minister of Health or AHS or whatever, there was suggestions of centralizing specific operations, like Westlock does hips, Fort Vermilion does foot surgery. Like, is there, because we have the operating room here, et cetera, to facilitate people who need a specific operation that could be done here, like High Prairie would be for, I don't know, elbow surgery or something. Is that sort of what you guys were focusing at regarding health?
Yeah, I did mention those things about our, the space for operating at our hospital, and that, like I said, like we said, health was a general area, and we talked about all of the issues with, not enough nurses, not enough doctors, not enough allied health people, and all of those. We talked about the, not being able to have babies in our communities. We don't have the, the operating room running, and yet there's a shortage of operating rooms, and they're privatizing them in the cities. And so we talked about all of those.
Okay.
And we talked about the fact that there is that, the Alberta Health Advisory Board for the whole north, and tried to get people to sign up and have some input on there. So that information was talked about, and then the next step is to say, okay, what are we gonna focus on in health in those areas? And it might be High Prairie Hospital trying to get that. How can we, as ANCA, push to move that forward?
Okay.
So that,
Yeah.
hopefully that'll come out of this. And, yeah, lots of stuff in and around on there.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. All right, Councillor Dunn.
Did we miss Councilman Martin?
She's not here, she's at RMA today. Yeah.
Okay. For me, just one meeting, basically with CRC, to discuss plans going forward on a few different things, especially with the roof and the building itself. Yeah, so we're basically in a period waiting for some answers from lawyers and stuff there. And I will submit my report as presented.
Okay, any questions for Councillor Dunn? So I have a question with that roof, where is it, what are you guys doing? What's the CRC doing? Because I know it was in possible legal battle, so you might not be able to comment on it if it's like that, but is it moved it forward at all?
No, that's why we're waiting, because wait now comes a place where we need some definitive answers from lawyers, because there's stuff that we've been told, and, I can't say much more than that. So, just yeah, I am very discouraged.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, and Councillor Danaka.
Couple things, November 1st, we had the library budget review committee. Basically, as Councillor Wakel referred to, the budget had already been presented by Tracy, and then she ended up losing some of her full-time staff, so she had to readjust the salary budget, part of the salary line of the budget. But basically, Councillor Martins and myself said that when it came to our council, we would support it at the 2022 rate. As well, I believe the MD councillors were agreed to the same thing, the 2022 rate. Rita did send us her revised, so her salaries are now added from two.
It's about $10,000 difference.
Yeah, there's about a $10,000 difference because of the change in staff, losing the top grid full-time, now they're back to starting on the bottom, so there was that. As well, I attended today, along with Councillor Wakel, the Aboriginal Veterans Day celebration on the front lawn of the town office. It was very nice. It was very good. Probably 30 people came, but it was nice to attend that. And just not necessarily a reminder, but in case councillors are not aware, this Saturday at 6, I believe it starts at 6, 7 is the actual starting, or 6:30, there is a rounded dance at St. Andrew's School, put on by the Aboriginal Interagency Group. I've been to a couple of them, and they're very enjoyable. So if you have the ability to come out this Saturday, I suggest you take it in. Again, it goes to building reconciliation, and just being out there supporting them shows that we're trying. As I mentioned, that's this Saturday at St. Andrews. And other than that, I move my verbal report for information.
All right, any questions for Councillor Danaka? Comments? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, and I do not believe we have any confidential items, nothing like that. Okay, so with that, meeting is adjourned.